Good afternoon, everyone. Anthony Wall Street Trader, 4:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 12th, 2023. We're here to talk about HOLO. This is not financial advice. This is educational. Click the subscribe and the bell. Click the thumbs up. Share the video. Twitter.com. Go there and subscribe to my chit chat on Wall Street Chart 12. Let's go straight into the markets. HOLO US dollar is making a nice rally. We kind of figured this out. Couple of reasons. Number one, rally in tech, rally across the board. And we mentioned this several times in the past few videos. This month, I think, is going to be stellar for tech, for Bitcoin, all the higher risk related asset classes. And I think we're going to start to see further rise in HOLO. But make no mistake about it, this is not just a HOLO thing. This is more of a Bitcoin thing. Bitcoin's up to 18,850. I think on the last video, we were talking around 17,000 change. So we also mentioned that Bitcoin will be the likely reason why HOLO goes up. And we're going to go into the reasons why, but just before we get into that, let's just know HOLO US dollar is up big, but let's look at the underlying pairs here. Number one, HOLO strength of Bitcoin, hot Bitcoin, multiplied by the benchmark Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin went up a lot bigger, whereas the inner strength kind of was a little bit tame. But we'll go into the reasons why I think this particular pair will go up dramatically, helping to further propel hot US dollar. Let's go straight into it. First and foremost, hot US dollars right now at 1668. I think we have a good rally at least up to here around 1732 in the next few days, and then another one straight up to 1905. After that, we'll have to take a gut check of the markets at that point to see. But moving into the next pair, this is the inner strength chart that we're looking at here. This star indicates roughly when that release for their new beta release comes out, and that's coming out at the end of January. Now, this somehow coincides with this almost triangular pattern here, as you can see. And it looks like we're stuck in between this red line of resistance and that green line of support. So let's go into it a little further. Let me just zoom out a little more, and you can see over here, we are in this triangle at the very tip, and this tip ends sometime in early Feb. However, these things typically break out or break down sooner than the bitter end of that tip. Now, this is where we see the release date for HOLO on the beta release. This is where I think roughly in this area, in the zone, is where we could propel up. Now, if you're going to put a trade on, I strongly recommend you put some sell stops. You don't want to get caught and something goes the wrong way in the overall market and things start going down. So, just pay attention to the support area and make sure you can tolerate the risk on the downside before getting involved. Now, HOLO Bitcoin, again, this is the inner strength. So it hasn't done a whole lot. Yeah, it had a nice little spike, but kind of got to pull back right at the resistance area. Now, if we go to Bitcoin, now Bitcoin was the reason. As you can see on the right over here, Bitcoin's up 5% day over day, since yesterday, and probably a little more than that. Hot Bitcoin, or the inner strength of the chart we're looking at right now, is not doing that great. However, Bitcoin went up so much, hot Bitcoin went down just a little bit, but yet hot US dollar is up. And that's the name of the game. What you want to see is you want to see one of these two go up more than the other. And clearly, we see that with benchmark Bitcoin. So going back to the markets, let's take a look at the benchmark. Benchmark right now is at around 18,847. This looks like a sweet W pattern. This thing really took off, broke through the resistance line here. As we mentioned on the last video, that's what we wanted to see. We thought that was going to happen, again, because of the fact that we are in a rally mode. So if we look at the nearest trend line, we do have a little bit of risk right around here where we're at. We might not go much further. We might go a lot further. Time will tell, but I think the release of hot HOLO Chain beta release will create a little stir and help this inner strength pair start to rally. So this would be the secondary phase of hot US dollars trek up. So I'm expecting to see that. Again, this is just my own opinion. This is not financial advice. Now moving over to if you look at the Bitcoin dominance, Bitcoin also tended to dominate over the past 24 hours. You could see here, Bitcoin just started taking off like a rocket. And the result of that is the altcoins didn't go up as much as Bitcoin did, generally speaking. This is a macro market view of cryptos. This explains to me that Bitcoin in market value is 41% of, or close to 42% of the overall market value of the crypto market, whereas 60% or 58% of the rest of the market is all non Bitcoin. That includes Ethereum, that includes all the other little shit coins out there, and everything else. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Bitcoin seemingly taking the cake today on the rally. But in the meantime, let's keep our eye out on US dollar. And most importantly, let's look at this inner strength. As we get closer and closer and closer to that release, interesting things could happen. But again, trade at your own risk. Take care.